Yo, what up, crew? Well, this is your Biohackers Cookbook instructional video to contribute to this project. But first, let's start with what is it? Of course, this is going to end up being a publication that you'll be able to use however you'd like to help revive the dead biohacker, genetic engineering, DIY science, whatever scene. And be able to contribute. Like let's make something cool, right? Okay, but some quick background notes is the timeline or the goal would be try to resolve this by DEF CON, which is in August of 2026, to be able to just to give out to people if you attend. So I will be attending. I'm not asking anybody to attend. If you choose to attend, then I'll see you there. But again, this is an open source project. Everybody has a vote. Everybody is on a level playing field here. So contribute as you'd like. I am not the controller of this, right? I have the goal to be able to try to enrich the community by bringing out the experiences of you, in meaning the folks that are building this project, and be able to give you a platform to then tell the world about it. That's it. Now, let's talk about, yeah, and the goal would be by DEF CON. So you could have like, a pamphlet, flyer, book, something, like whatever it turns out to be, to just to give to people. That's the goal. All right, yeah, this is definitely, I'm not going to police this or kind of monitor it. It's, contribute if you want. If you don't want, you don't have to. Like, none of that stuff is, and if it dies, if it doesn't get any traction in the next, month or 2 months or whatever, then it's just dead. That's just how the world goes. Some things go, some things don't. Okay, well, then let's see. All right, let's get down into it. So, of course, I have it in a Google Doc here. And so let's just start here. Again, it's for you. So I'm not telling you there's no format, there's no guidance. It's your opportunity to tell whoever's going to read this what you want to tell them. And I'm not here to critique it. There's only like one thing is that it cannot promote some, like, it cannot use to treat something, right? Because that's not the point. There's no like use as a method to treat whatever it is. That's not the point of this. The point is that it's fundamentally a biohacker is doing biology with a hacker mindset. That's uh, that's essentially it. Okay, but with that said, is I left these sections open. So like the about the author section that we're going to go into here, this is where everybody that contributes will be featured right here. So that means like quick little bio, and depending on how many people contribute, then the size of the bio. The other part is it'll have some cringeworthy, so extra cringeworthy photos. So just be advised, as we talked about before. I'll probably take this, which is the disclaimer, which means that kind of use at your own risk, and that it's not there to promote. You know, nobody's a, this is not to be used in lieu of a you know of a licensed healthcare provider, et cetera, et cetera, and all the escape valves is information only, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The preface is like who this book is for, and I left all this open as just outlines. So I don't want to bias you. You put your voice, you put your life, or whatever you want in this spot. It's for you. Now, as I had, which I'll further get into, but I have broken this down into two kind of tabs. But here's the first one. So, who's this book for? We can you can put everything in there, and then we can collectively agree or do some voting or some updating to make that so it has like one unified voice of the people that are contributing to this project. All right, what is a biohacker? So, hey, you know what? This is a really kind of a broad umbrella. And this may be an opportunity to talk about the whole ecosystem of what that term even means now, which I'm unsure of. And also, maybe propose a new term that we can all collectively agree on and tell the world about. So anyway, but I want to hear your thoughts of what it means to you, not what I think. Genetic engineering, this is kind of the overview of like how I kind of see it, meaning like that type of hacking, right? So from genetic engineering standpoint. All right, so here's some other ones: setting up a biohacker lab, like what type of experiments you're going to do, what kind of equipment you would want to tell somebody about, what your experience has been, etc. Basic equipment, some people have had success in acquiring equipment, and talk about all the things like if you're trying to, kind of circumvent a traditional path? What barriers have you, came across, whether it's like vendor purchasing, PO box problems, only finding it from few source, working in the veterinarian animal world to get your reagents, just things like that. Those are all very diagnostic. Do I need government approval? So, contribute to this. I think that it would probably be in our best interest is to really see different jurisdictions of like where people are at globally that is contributing to this project and how they're, compare and contrast how that individual government, views any type of DIY biology event and where we're at in the status of 2026. Where do I get supplies, which is along with, probably the same hurdles for equipment, but not, so anyway, more to add there. Okay, so community stuff, right? So of course, like what we do here is a community that, people can join, which I really hope we kind of like, this goals in 2026 is to grow this community more, and do more stuff where it's not just like, talking shit and it's like really doing stuff, showing the world what's actually happening. So, and or resources where they can find help and get kind of more people involved if they plan to, and welcome others into the community, etc. All right, and then this breaks down into protocols. So it's like we're not, I think that you can just make it how whatever protocol you want to put in there, we'll organize it. But again, I'm not going to edit anything, meaning like it's your voice, it's your stuff. Like we can all, that's how you just do the best you can, provide the art in the best fashion how, and because the goal is to resonate with a lot of people, not to become some like technical manual which is boring. Okay, and then I left like a few of these kind of topics that is down here, like protocol for using a standard pipette. I left it in there, just to kind of like get an idea of like what they mean by like what I mean by protocols and stuff like that. And so that I think, and then this one here, as I kept in here on purpose, is so we don't always just focus on this like wet lab work that, there's a lot of data work that can be done in biohacking, which is not being done now. There's a lot of like, kind of predictive stuff and protein folding and, these type of stuff, which is not the cool, like, I'm doing it in my basement kind of like wet lab science, but still it's, very informative, and it helps you communicate whatever your experiment you are and being organized and, following a concept framework that will help you enrich yourself and learning, and then incorporating the use of AI as a co-intelligence agent and blah 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 blah, those type of stuff. So I left that in there. And then we're going to do a kind of a group conclusion, which is like, really the fuck around and find out type of thing. So, all right, so that's that. Okay, so back it up here is we have this main document. All right, so now this will be the main piece, right? So it's going to gain chapters, lose chapter, gain, content, lose content, whatever, whatever. All right, now this is the individual contributions, right? So everybody has a folder, and if you're, kind of, if you're not part of the regular group, but you like, you decide that you see this link on the Patreon and you want to contribute or whatever, just throw yourself a tab in here, throw your name on it, and throw the good word that you got, right here. So I gave like, everybody a folder, and if I missed you, I'm sorry, but throw a tab, because these are kind of like the main standing members that we do this thing every week or very frequently. And then just add what you want. So the goal is this, or the idea is this, that what the group here collectively puts in for the individual contributions will guide what will happen in the main text. So we will make sure that we include all the individual contributions. So this is your tab, your file, and we will then incorporate it into the main biohacker cookbook type thing. All right, now let's see. Yeah, that's kind of it. So let's circle back here. Circle back is we have a main text, which is collectively for everyone. So if you add to it, please put your addition and then highlight it your color, so we know who added what when we put it together for final editing. Secondly, is we have an individual contribution tab, which is your playground, your field of work to do whatever you'd like. You can add how you see fit and what you want to contribute to this project. You can put it in the individual contribution, and then we can collectively move it over. Okay. And then we will all come together for conclusions and some of these main topic points. And then the goal is to get this thing going along the road and get it pretty close to being done sometime before DEF CON. Well, actually, probably around May, if that's a timeline. So we're talking about May 2026. Then we have a pretty good, pretty good book, right? It should be pretty sizable, have, a lot of content. Oh, another thing is please make sure that if you want to add images, that's hand drawings or whatever pictures, just throw them in there as JPEGs, and then we can add them to the main file. Okay, so then what does that look like? All right, so we do all this. It's a beautiful book. It's got a lot of crazy stuff. It's a great it's a great contribution to the world. Then there is a software that I will put it in, and it will help kind of organize it more in terms of like standard font, electronic, be able to export electronically, like all this formatting shit. Then after that, I will send it to an editor that I pay. So I'll pay an editor, and they will review it and come with recommendations to make it either flow easier, look or more organized, this, that, and the other based on the instructions we give. So I'll do that. And then after that, we have a final product, and then that final product will be placed in a bunch of different places where you could buy it digitally, and then I'll order some copies of it, which is both paperback and hardbound. And then, hey, you know what? You done something for the world. But again, this is your project. I'm not dictating any of this. And I guess referencing these dictators was not, it's not good. But anyway, you get what I mean. You get what I mean. I'm not, and would like you to do that. And I think that's it. So that's your instructional video for the old Biohackers Cookbook. So we'll see you next time. Peace.